Good afternoon, one and all, and welcome back. We don't get to say that very often during the course of the season, but welcome back to Circuit of the Americas for our second visit, call it part 2, if you will, of World Challenge competition through SRO Motorsports America here at Circuit of the Americas. And this, of course, is for TC America competition. First race of a busy triple header weekend. Round 12 for the Touring Car R and Touring Car A classes. Round 11 for Touring Car. And this track presents multiple challenges.
It really does, Greg. It's a monster. Just under 3.5 miles, 20 turns, and that first sector is incredible. You climb the hill, past the start-finish stripe. Monstrous climb of 133 feet, big wide open brake zone. Cars slow down really quickly with the elevation change, and then you charge down the hill, down through those high-speed S's that seem to go on forever and lead you up to turn 11. Really good key out-braking opportunity down there. And then the long stretch down to turn 12, another good brake zone, and then the real technical section, sector 3, to finish off the lap.
It is something special, and we've got a big field of cars getting ready to head out on track. The combined race group, some 30 cars strong, TCR, TC, and TCA machines all taking to the track. And we've got a great field, and I think that's a welcome back that we're looking at right here. Taylor Hagler, who of course raced in the Touring Car A division. In fact, right here at Circuit of the Americas last year, Cal got her first pro podium in the second race.
Yeah, it's been a great hunting ground for her, and what a performance she put in as she makes her TCR debut in this championship anyway, and puts it on the front row alongside our really champion-elect Tyler Maxson. What a year he's put together. 9 wins, monstrous lead. He could clinch here today. Needs a bit of help to make it happen, but certainly a very impressive performance by that young man in 2020.
Yeah, he has been something else, and that Copeland Motorsports team has just executed beautifully. This young man here, this guy Scott Smithson, has been really strong, having an immense weekend, really, at Road America, the most recent round. He's
got the momentum, 2 wins there, and a lot to play for. I think he's got the confidence now to charge after that front row and try and make some moves here early.
Get ready to go as he has qualified himself in the 4th spot. Roy Block along the inside. Right there is Roy in the Alfa Romeo, the Giulietta, absolutely beautiful machine as well. And then the rest of the field, there's a look at CJ Moses in the CrowdStrike AWS Honda entry. Then our touring car field, and this has been a real battleground this year. Toby Rahovic, who now hails from nearby Plano, Texas, so this would be a second home race for him. Certainly is for the classic BMW and Fast Track Racing team. Finds himself on pole, but John Castro Dubet, sort of an interloper here, outside of the front row with James Clay, the points leader, sitting 3rd.
Yeah, James Clay is our championship leader, and Toby coming off that brilliant performance and win at Road America. A lot of confidence going with him behind the wheel of the number 26 classic BMW machine. And as you look further down the rows, look for Johann Schwartz. Came off a disastrous with that start line crash at Road America. Lines up 8th today, and a big repair job done on that BMW, get him on the grid here today. Yeah, and they're struggling. They said it's some electrical issues, some computer issues, some tranny issues that they're all sorting through, so he may be in for a bit of a long day. I do want to call attention to one more driver in that TC category, and that's Tom Capizzi. In that 3rd race at Road America, he hung on in 4th behind Clay, Rahovic, and a couple of other drivers, Austin Smith. It was a breakout race, I thought, for Capizzi, the way he just hung with 2 of the very best in this category ever and stuck with them. 3rd in one of the practice sessions yesterday, sticks at 4th on the grid now. I think Tom has realized, I can do this. Yeah, and I think what is great to see is Auto Technic obviously putting great cars underneath their drivers. Capizzi on the 2nd row of the grid, Castro Dubets on the outside of the front row. So they've found, you know, really the sweet spot with their setups on those BMWs. So you got BIM World right in the mix. You got, you know, Auto Technic Classic. Is going to be a real fight between those big BMW teams here today, I feel. And then for the first time, a couple of LA Honda World Racing Honda Civic Type R TC machines in the hands of a couple of fairly experienced guys. Yeah, so there's lots to look forward to. It's a deep field. Yes. We've got 30 cars out there, and it's going to be big battles for the class wins and TCA. Kevin Bohm, what a run he's been on. Swept ultimately all 3 rounds at Road America. That puts him right in the thick of the championship, just 3 points behind Thomas Mejia right now. And the man who had a disastrous weekend at Road America, Gonzalez, is really on the back foot now to try and get back into the championship, one that he seemed to have a handle on just a month ago. Absolutely, and with more on this deep field of competitors, let's get down and meet the 3rd member of our team and a recent Indy winner, Ryan Marine.
Thank you, Craig. Thanks, Cal. We can talk more about that later, but now let's focus on Tyler Gonzalez, who you guys talked about a second ago. What a great start to the season he had, but disastrous weekend at Road America, and unfortunately not off to a great start here this weekend at Cota. Turbo issues on that Hyundai really caused problems, and they had to go searching for some replacement parts. They ultimately found them from one of their competitor teams, CB Racing. Really cool example of the camaraderie within this TC America paddock. They were able to help out the Copeland guys get that part swapped out. He starts last because the turbo issue popped up in qualifying, but he is awfully quick, and he's got a mission because he's down in points now in that third position. Another story I wanted to follow up on a bit more, Johann Schwartz, that you guys talked about earlier. I talked to the team owner from Hard Motorsport, that would be Adam Harding, and he said it really was quite an undertaking just to get this car here. They had a bunch of parts that they needed to get sent to their shop. They were located up in Spokane, Washington. They found out it was going to take too long for those parts to get there. So what's their solution? They're going to go to the parts, and that meant going to Classic BMW here in Texas. They went there to get the parts. They started assembling the car in the parking lot there. They've been working through some issues ever since then, but Johan, the defending series champion, has a lot on his mind here this weekend, trying to get that car ready to go and trying to chase yet another championship.
Yeah, that's been a real struggle for them. Obviously, Hard Motorsports not the biggest of teams out there, but again, cooperation within that paddock from the folks at Classic BMW. And that story you talked about with Tyler Gonzalez, Matt Forbush, who drives the second of those CB Racing Signal Hyundais, not able to be here this weekend, so that car was available to take that turbo off and give it to him. I mean, that's the kind of things you see in these paddocks here in the racing world, particularly in a year that's been as unique as this one for so many reasons. And we are getting ready to go. Wanted to call attention to Cal qualifying second in the TCA category, by far and away his best. Ben Bettenhausen in the number 28 Subaru from Tech Sport Racing really put together a lap and finds himself on the outside of the front row in that category in front of points leader Tomas Mejia.
Yeah, only 9,000ths of a second off the pole, so it was a brilliant lap by Ben. So let's see how they can stack up in the race today. The key with that car, it seems, is just getting the car healthy and getting it to the finish. And, you know, they're going to be digging deep here.
And there's a secondary Hard Motorsport entry here. Just want to welcome a new driver to the championship, Vincent Piamonte, in the Hard Motorsports BMW M240 IR Cup car, the number 30 Hollywood Stuntman. And has also done a fair amount of SCCA and NASA club competition out in the Western Majors Championships, and has had a fair amount of success there, and is making his pro debut this weekend as the field now under the control, completing their second formation lap. You see the lights out on the Acura NSX, the official safety vehicle of SRO Motorsports America, and means we are getting ready to go. Just those last little bobs and weaves, trying to get those tires cleaned up. This is 40 minutes of competition, just one driver, and get after it. And, yeah, welcome back, Taylor. Great to see that.
Tyler Tagler.
And yeah, exactly. And I'll tell you what, Victor Gonzalez, he's got to be a bit frustrated to be back in fifth. He's had poles and the like this year, hasn't got that win yet this season. And Olivia Askew has 3 top 5s, and she's shown the speed in her number 29 AWS CrowdStrike DXDT Honda to be able to get into podium competition as well. So I'd keep an eye on her.
Yeah, that team's been doing a bunch of testing, so they're really coming on strong here as this season progresses. But big moment here for Taylor Hagler on the front row. How much pressure will she try and put on Tyler in the run up to the first turn? Again, it's so wide up there, you can really run around the long way around and try and make the move by the time you get down the hill into turn 2.
And keep in mind, on the original start, the flag does not fly where the finish line is, which is that first flag station right there. It's much farther up the track to get as many cars onto this long front straight as is possible. The TC field is now on the front straight, and the TCA field will be working through. We're green, and it's time to go racing. And big attack by Clay already, down to the inside, trying to get through on Grahovic. I think that's Bryson Liu behind them trying to force their way through. And a great start by Roy Block.
Really a big compression there between the TCR field and the TC field. The TC guys got up on the wheel a little bit earlier and almost ran over the top of the tail end of the TCR machines.
looked to me like Gonzalez got around Smithson. Here's the start in TCA, and Kevin Boehm from that pole leads in a touch there. I think Bettenhausen just got into the back of the number 60 of Mejia, who had squirted around him at the green, loosened Mejia up. And oh, in a moment here, the number 61, Mark Pombo, just goes sailing around after a touch, I think, as well. And I thought it was maybe a cut tire, but it was just some debris that shot up in the air, but interesting starts there as well.
Yeah, Pombo's not had the easiest of seasons. All seem to have gone sideways on him, literally, in these last few racing weekends, but battling up front. It's Taylor moved to the 3rd spot, so Block's had a really nice first lap here and has moved up ahead of her into that 2nd position with the black Alfa Romeo as we see her heading and chasing after the leader, tails away.
Boy, and Smithson got a great exit out of turn 11 down this long straight, Cal, and got back to the inside of Gonzalez, who had passed him in the early going, and Smithson was able to move past and take that position back. And then behind them here is the battle, and then CJ Moses has drifted back a little bit. Oh, and a big squeeze play there.
Really tight there with Phil Bloom, I think, is in the number 11 Classic BMW. He's had a monster first lap.
Huge lap.
Oh, contact. 29 car Olivia goes around.
Oh boy.
It's in turn 13. That's just that class overlap between the faster of the TC cars and the TCR cars. They just didn't get going, so immediately as we took that big rush up into turn 1, we saw some cars getting past.
Here's a look at the 31, and that was a great start actually by Johann Schwartz. And I think he's up into 3rd. And they've been struggling with that car. They said, we hope we got it right. But he's in front of Clay.
That
was
huge.
Monstrous.
Yeah, he had to make that happen, and you know that he'd been thinking about that opening lap for a while since qualifying, that he had to make some moves here early after the disappointing run this morning.
Of course, if you just happen to not be watching as Clay takes a look now up into turn 1 on the inside of Johan, the reason for all the damage on Johann's car was the last race at Road America. On the start, he got tapped and snapped into that long pit wall. That Road America really damaged the car up, so they're just trying to work through those issues right now. But up front, that has well and clearly allowed Grahovic and Bloom. What a start. I said it was Bryson Liu, but it was Bloom who jumped from 7th into 2nd, Cal.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a mix-up there with the monstrous start that the touring cars got, and then trying to make it safely through the overlap of the TCR cars once they got to turn 1. It obviously opened up the door for Bloom to make that move, and he's hung on to it nicely, chasing after his teammate there, Toby Grahovic.
And that first car, the red and black BMW, that is John Castro-Dubet's, who we don't see a lot of in this championship, at least this season. He's run with us in the past. He's a very quick driver. Oh, and a problem for the 52 of Capizzi and the Capizzi Home Development Century. That's the car that I was talking about. Qualified 4th, Cal. It was so fast. It's shown what he could do at Road America and sits in pit lane.
Yeah, it's a shame. I'll try and get him back out there, but obviously major delay. It seemed like the TCR cars were led to the green very, very slowly. You can see, look here, the TC cars have a big, big charge going on as they get up towards the brake zone.
Yeah, I'm watching that orange car right middle of the screen. It wasn't a touch that I could see there, but boy, huge compression, as you mentioned. And here was the start in TCA. But look at Gonzalez, where he was already. There's the touch.
Here, and let's watch and see what happens to Pombo. Just gets touched right there. Just gets nailed in that left rear corner, turns him.
And I actually said that it was Bettenhausen that maybe got into the back of Mejia. It was Damon Sershizin who had a mega start. Damon had qualified 7th in class, and he currently is right up in the sharp end, sitting 3rd. So a couple of guys coming from deep in the pack in different categories, Cal, and is making mega starts.
Yeah, there we see Smithson now running in that 3rd position. Just been really impressed with him. You know, the team have said great things about him, but boy, has he really shone in the last couple of rounds of this championship, and I think with getting more races under his belt, and I think certainly the team's testing program has allowed him to really find his feet with one of these TCR cars.
Based out of Utah, and he's really only done until this season club stuff, but as we've seen over the years, Cal, there's some club racers that are wickedly fast. Toby Grahovic is one that pops into mind. He steps into the pro ranks and is right there, and Smithson has adapted beautifully. But now Victor Gonzalez is starting to put the pressure on Taylor in this battle for the 4th spot. Victor dives to the inside. See if Taylor does the over-under. Looks like she got to the throttle a bit sooner, and she's almost already clear of him.
Yeah, it's going to be a drag race down this back straightaway, but Taylor's been very busy, been running in a couple of championships, and also has been part of the Honda Performance Development Driver Academy, so she's had time with Racer's Edge aboard one of their GT3 Acura NSX machines over the last couple of months as well. So all of this is just really teaching her the ropes and getting her into some bigger machinery. So when she probably jumps back to this TCR car, probably has a ton of confidence now.
I think she just came off of that Road Atlanta a couple of weeks back, her best finish in one of the championships she's running. 4th place, just missing the podium. Well, and Johan, both Clay now and Dubets have been able to get through. And then right behind them, a guy that we forgot to say welcome back to is Jeff Ricca.
Yeah.
Who has come back running the Hyundai Veloster and
yes,
the TC machine. So good to have him back. Been a long-time competitor and then World Challenge and now SRO touring car competition.
And just great to see Hyundai's footprint across all of these touring car classes. They've really made a tremendous investment. I think Brian Herder Autosport done a great job in terms of really laying down the groundwork to allow this to be a great customer racing platform in all of the classes now.
Well, that's a good point. Brian Herder Autosport, they're the manufacturer representative, so the team meetings and the like, Brian Herder's in on all this stuff, extremely active. And Ryan Marine, obviously lots that's unfolded here thus far. It's settling down a little bit. What's up?
Yeah, it's been a busy and frantic start. Even down here in pit lane, you saw Tom Capizzi in the pit lane. Unfortunately, his day is done early. Damage after contact with Olivia Askew, which I think we saw earlier in the show. It suspension parts, so he's taking that car behind the wall after a great qualifying effort. We also had Bryson Lou.
Capizzi, who's been remarkable this last couple of rounds, but Bryson Lou, since he made an appearance with this team at Sonoma, he has been a real factor as well. Loves this place. He's a big F1 fan, and he actually drove Formula 4 in France for a while, so Bryson was looking forward to running here. Unfortunately, not having the go he wanted at this stage, but a little scrap right here between Gonzalez and the 57 and the 18 of Caleb Bacon in the Signal entry from CB Motorsports. And
yes, really good little battle.
Yeah.
Great to see these different manufacturers pretty evenly matched teams. And he's been such a strong competitor this championship season.
And to see Mejia sitting back there in 4th gives you an idea of just how competitive this category is. And it's really awesome to see Precision now up into a fighting top 5, showing some pace. And but has had just a really difficult year with mechanical issues and the like. He's Canadian a little bit, the BRZ TS. Is really starting to find not just some speed, but a bit of reliability. And they're having good runs, but boy, you talk about having good runs.
Yeah.
Kevin Boehm.
Yeah, he's certainly come around a bit, hasn't he, in terms of putting on a charge here mid-season. Swept the whole weekend at Road America and leads right now. So he came into this race 3 points adrift of the championship lead of Thomas Mejia, but the way they run now, he would have the lead this evening with rounds rapidly running out.
And I was going to give them a shout out talking about Kevin and Sharon, his wife, who are all part of that very small but potent team. With everything that's been going on with Hard Motorsports and putting in 20-hour days trying to get Johan's car fixed, and knowing how much of a hit on budget that takes to get through for a small team that's doing the program. Kevin and Sharon and that team bought and set up the entire Hard Motorsports operation with lunch the other day, and just just said, you guys need a break here, get a good meal, and you can get back to it. So again, that great camaraderie, particularly in the touring car paddocks. They all have it, but you know, a lot of these guys come from club racing. When you get done and you're paddock next to one of your best friends and you go chat.
Yeah, it's real grassroots racing at a certain degree, and there's great camaraderie, and you realize how hard you're fighting, particularly when these races have been compacted with the COVID situation. Races are coming at these teams pretty rapidly, so if you have a problem, you really need to dig deep, and you need a hand now and again for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And I suppose the only silver lining for Johan was that it happened in the third race at Road America, not the first, because
Right.
that would have just ended the entire thing here. So I'll tell you, continue to be impressed with Roy Block, too.
Yeah, the Alpha's really come on strong, and he's been a busy boy as well, running in 2 different TCR championships right now. So certainly there's no rust on him right now. He's been running pretty much
Not
every
at
week,
all.
it seems. So really impressive performance, great little team. And I know we often harp on about it, but I have to say the body styling of that Alpha is just tremendous.
It is. I made the comment that it was very swoopy, and I had at Road Atlanta a couple of weekends ago when I just happened to be there, and I had a couple of texts from corner workers go, "Swoopy, huh? Okay."
Yeah.
But it's just
It's Italian.
It is. It's exactly. It's artistic, I guess, is a great way to put it, and effective. But the question is for Roy is Smithson has been so fast, and he's sort of got his sight set right now. And Roy, Argentinian American, I guess, but he is really just continuing to develop as a driver.
Trying to make sense of our timing and scoring right now is showing Maxson with a fast lap at 2:18, which is 3 or 4 seconds quicker than anyone else. I know he's leading this race handily, but I don't understand where that lap time came from, because his qualifying pole was a 2:20.7, so I'm not sure if the data's a little bit off there, but nonetheless, he has a 3.5 second lead, with everyone else running in the 2:21s and 2:22s.
Yeah, that's
A little bit out of the
that's
park.
significant. Yeah.
Talk about track limits here, but I think you'll struggle to find 2 or 3 seconds by cutting a couple of
By
corners.
cutting corners. And here is a look to number 26 at Toby Grahovic.
You don't see this often in touring car
No.
competition. The leader just out by himself.
Yeah, he is. I mean, it was a from pole, great start. You take a look at the times. I mean, it wasn't. He was on pole by, in touring car realm, sizable 0.3 of a second. But he has just translated that into an absolutely fabulous run. And I think it's possible that his teammate Phil Bloom, coming up from 7th in there, getting in front of James Clay and the like. And then I think that group, you know, as you said, running up on the back of some of the TCR cars and getting bottled up. Moment there for Olivia.
Just got in there a little bit deep, nowhere to go with it, and you just got more downforce, more braking ability, but the other cars are coming backwards towards you. It seems like they put it in reverse as you're going forward. So a little lesson learned there into that brake zone with the different classes mixing it up together.
Yeah, and there's Phil Bloom now. Is trying to. There's C.J. Moses in front of him in the TCR entry. Phil seems to be a little bit quicker in some of the twisty bits here.
Getting back to James Clay, as we see there, running in the 3rd position right now. He's got a 31-point lead in this championship over Johann Schwartz, who you know, obviously had that major ding in the points at Road America and is struggling here a bit today. But Toby Grahovic only sits 7 points back of Johann, so with him leading right now, he could make a big jump in the points in general and also in his position, maybe up to 2nd by the end of the day.
That's a good point. Johan just setting his quickest personal lap of the race at a 2:28, a mid 2:28. But he's dealing a dicing right now with Olivier Askew. Here he comes. And when you consider the amount of damage that this car sustained, just the fact that it's running is impressive. The fact that it's running at this pace is amazing, and you've just got to believe it's still not quite right.
No, I thought it was a write-off. I mean, I really did when I saw it get loaded up. I was literally in a million pieces, and I asked you, I said, I assume Johann's in a backup car this weekend, and you told me this morning that you'd seen a Classic being fixed. So just hats off to the crew and the amount of work they had to put in.
And the Zulmans, Richard Zulman actually owns that car and provided it for Johan this year, and the Zulmans have been following this and with great interest and just great motivation, which is, I think, it's absolutely wonderful. Clay now has been able to get to the back again of Phil Bloom. Bloom in that blue and yellow BMW, tails away. But it looks like, a moment there. It's the number 27 of Bryson Liu. We got that report from Ryan that they've been dealing with some issues right from the off here. Bryson qualified 5th. That's a pretty good speed.
He's been really impressive here since he's burst onto the scene this season.
Yes, he has. Getting back to our TCA battle again. Boehm down the road a fair amount here, and then Bacon and Gonzalez, Mejia, Sershizin are covered by virtually nothing at this stage, and then a recovering Pombo.
Yeah, big day for Bacon potentially here. Really impressive seeing him running up there in the 2nd position.
Well, he had a really, really quick run here when we were here in March for the opening weekend of the championship. This is a pass on one of the TR races. That's the number 24. That's Damon. That's just, I think that's Lou trying to recover. And it looks like that problem he has is sporadic.
Speaking of problems, as we now look at the fastest speeds on the straightaway, great graphic here that showcases what sort of speeds these various machines are hitting here. 26 miles an hour for a TCR car is pretty cool.
That is. It's actually it's the TCA class they're hitting 126. Yeah. That's really impressive. Caleb Bacon getting the job done. I was going to say he had a really good opening race of the championship here. Caleb did in Cota, and then things changed up a little bit, and it's been a bit of a struggle ever since. So I'm sure he's saying this is how it should feel.
Yeah, I mean, yet to stand on the podium yet this season, but he's running really strong right now. In a big battle, of course, long way to go still.
Yes.
Things are looking good so far for him.
And up front right now, Boehm has the margin he has built up right now over Bacon is something on the order of, I think, 10 seconds. And in TCA competition numbers, that's stunning.
Tell you what, Maxson is backing up to this Block-Smithson battle here. Gap is now only 2.7 seconds, so his last lap was 7, 8 tenths slower than the guys who are chasing him down. So you know that Roy Block has now got the bit between his teeth as he sees that championship leader coming back towards him.
Yeah, absolutely. And you wonder if Maxson just took off and maybe took a little bit more out of these Pirelli P0s.
Well, he was really unbeatable, you know, going 9 straight, was it, to start the year? And then we get to Road America and all started to go a little bit pear-shaped on him. Not the weekend he was looking for, but nonetheless, great pole position, great start, has led comfortably, but he's not driving away from the pack today like he's done most of the season.
And that is the number 24 of Sershizin. That is a shame. Boy, I'll tell you what a start he had up into the top 2 and 3, and now a problem. And I'm not sure where they're sitting over there as we take a look at the Race Vision powered by AWS, fastest corner speed at the S's in the TC category, and it is Matt Pombo in that Honda Type R TC category machine.
Yeah, and that's taken at turn 4, so this is through the middle of the S's there. They're running those sort of speeds.
Wow, that's a gap too, 111 to 108.
Yeah, that's a big commitment through there. And looking at this gap up front, it came down another half second on that last lap for the overall lead and the TCR lead as well here. So Maxson may be having some issues here.
And Smithson is closing in that Coelho DXDT entry right onto the back of block now. Hagler has been able to open up a bit of a margin on Gonzalez.
Yeah, it looks like Taylor has really found her stride as well and back into a rhythm. I think we've seen the last of the results in terms of who's going to stay on what step of the podium here today.
I think that's certainly in flux. Good news is, and we hope it translates as well for Taylor, to have her in the championship again. But the LA Honda World entries in the TC category of Matt Pombo and Mike Lamara, not just this round. This isn't just a toe in the water thing. They are committing and are going to run at Indianapolis as well. So love to hear that. That's great news. And if Taylor, who also races for LA Honda World just in the TCR category, great to have her in the championship as well, especially the kind of performance she put on in qualifying and is running right now.
Well, that certainly bodes well for the 2021 season, and we expect to see like the FCP Euro guys back next year. Obviously, they've been hit hard with the COVID situation, and a lot of their team has to be healthy to run the business, so they've elected to sit out the championship season, but we hope they'll be back next year, and you add those guys back to the mix, a top team like them, along with some of the new teams that we've seen added to the championship. It should make for a tremendous season.
Oh, Smithson going straight to the apex into turn 1. Block gives him just enough room, but tries to power around the outside. Block now should have the inside as they head into 2, and indeed does.
That was a nice move. Didn't quite pull it off, but very decisive. Didn't get in that no man's land, as I call it, where you're in between. Do I go? Do you go? But just good hard racing, just trying to set Roy up there, and I'm sure I'll have another dig at him. Still 17 minutes left on the board.
That's the thing with this track. If you're not real familiar with it, you know, the sides of the track are absolutely parallel till you approach the apex point of some of these corners, and then the inside line just angles into the apex, and it just invites people to try these late moves to the inside.
Speaking of this, watch James Clay. Is he going to flick it to the inside?
Problem here, the number 70 of Joey Jordan in the Mazda 3, that FTG Racing entry supported by Cork Sport. Clay was trying it, wasn't he? Didn't quite get it done. Oh, he's working each inside, outside. He's going to try and go around the outside.
That's tight. Just tucked the nose in enough and had enough curbage there to use it and get out of the way. Certainly one of the more aggressive drivers in our championship, even with the championship lead and the big picture to think about. He's still putting it all on the line here this afternoon.
A lot of credit here to Phil Bloom, who's missed a couple of rounds, doesn't race the full season, and under that bit of attack here, actually is able to gap him a little bit.
James races like he played football.
There you go. And if you're wondering, is he a big lad? Well, he played defensive end. So, yes.
Yeah, doesn't give an inch, that's for sure.
No, he's the definitive scrapper here. Speaking of this, good little, in a way, inter-squad battle here, isn't it?
Yeah, Olivia Askew and CJ Moses. A good little battle there for what is 6th position. So Olivia got around CJ on that lap.
Both of them running out of the DXDT team. CJ in the AWS CrowdStrike entry. There is a look at Toby, who
he's got to be wondering what's going on. He's probably never had a touring car race quite like this one, where there's been no one filling his mirrors or him chasing someone down. So coming off that win at Road America, on a bit of a roll right now, and still 5 races to go in this championship. So can't give up on it. I know James has a healthy lead over both Johan and himself, 30+ points, but you can get some big swings. You sweep a weekend, even if the other person finishes 2nd in every race. That's a 21-point swing on a triple header.
That's big. Lots can happen. And just got an update. Johan Schwartz, one of the problems, they seem to have solved all of the issues, except for some reason they get to 3rd gear and they have a power drop off. So Johan's just trying to apparently do a bit of a workaround. They said we just couldn't figure that one out. So he's doing a pretty brilliant drive here. But he's got a very hungry young man in Austin Smith right behind him right now as we
got Hagler. She's really closed in on Smithson with this group of TCA traffic. Has kind of balked all of the leaders here a little bit. It looks like Taylor's been the one to get the most benefit out of that.
She's got a nice run as well here.
There's Maxson in the lead, hitting the brake zone for turn 12, then Roy Block. Taylor Hagler starting to put the pressure on Smithson there. That's tight close. There.
Close.
Really tight. Everyone's got to be totally aware and have their senses around them when you've got 3 classes running together like this.
One thing, we need to point out here is because we're watching these TCR cars, which on a lap are significantly faster than TC and TCA cars, but the TC and TCA cars seem to get through some of these twisty bits. These TCR cars are massively aero dependent. A lot of downforce on these cars, and when you get into real tight stuff, they don't necessarily have the mechanical grip of those other cars, do they?
No, I think they're all pretty even through the real tight and twisty stuff. When you get into the medium and the high-speed stuff, with the extra horsepower that they have as well, it really comes into play. They're really quick through those sectors, the TCR cars are.
Gonzalez has gone around on Bacon in that exchange. Now Caleb is trying whatever he can do to try and get back through on that Copeland Hyundai in the signal car as Gonzalez goes by. And looking at something here, we saw Pombo have that spin.
He's had a big move though. He's around his teammate, right?
I was going to say,
he jumped to fourth.
Yeah, he jumped to fourth, and that's a massive recovery from that spin to make up that kind of ground.
Well, you know he's a fighter. He's a great racer,
Yes.
Mark is, and so much experience. Things just have not gone his way. He started off the season so strong and then just had a few little issues and moments that have cost him a chance of a title probably this year, but you know he's never going to give up.
All right, as we watch this entry of Tyler Gonzalez, it's down to the pit lane for an update on that Cork Sport Mazda.
Right, we saw that car in pit lane just a few moments ago, and unfortunately they are done for this race. In this case, it was a powertrain issue related to cooling. And let's remember, this is a team that really is doing a lot of development over the course of these races. And actually, speaking to them, they were pretty upbeat about the whole thing because they went about as far as they have or further in any of the previous races that they've contested so far. So they feel like they're starting to figure some things out. This is a different issue than they've encountered in the past. They think they've got those sorted. So at this point, they're finding new things. And eventually, you check them all off that list, and the program's good to go. So brave of them to do their development in a race situation, but they felt like the car had as much pace or more than they've seen in any of the races so far, and they're pretty enthused. They think they can get this fixed easily and are really excited for the rest of the weekend.
That's a great point. I mean, they're building what is going to be the turnkey answer in touring car to the BMW 240 and the new Honda Civic Type R TC cars, that you just buy it and it's ready to race. And they're developing it, Cork Sport in their racing program. And here's the move. Clay, I think, finally figuring a way through on Bloom. It started there, and then, yep.
Yeah, a lot of pressure, and ultimately Bloom just got in there a little bit too deep. But Clay's got more heat to think about. In terms of Castro Dubets as well.
Yeah, Castro Dubets is sticking right with him and is quick. Here they come. You just saw Toby Grahovic as he has slipped through. And Bloom ran wide there, but he's still sticking right with him.
Yeah, it's a really strong run, and he'll be disappointed if he can't somehow get back up onto that podium, because it was a really dynamic first lap that he put together, and a big fight there with our championship leader.
Well, Johan just set another personal best, Cal, at a 2:28.1, and he has found himself, he's within 5 seconds of Dubets from where he was earlier. Johan is doing one heck of a job.
He really is. He's going to keep digging. He realized that every point is crucial here, as they're on a little bit of damage control from the big shunt, obviously, no pun intended, and also not having the best qualifying run. But looking at his pace compared to Grahovic, you know, he's still a little ways off of Toby's lap times. Toby has a fast lap at 2:27.0 today, and Castro Dubets actually has a 2:26.8. So Johan's got about a second, or the team has about a second that they need to find for tomorrow.
It's not too bad if you're losing power in a gear.
Yeah.
They just haven't been able to figure that one out. So he's got a nice workaround, and of course, vastly experienced, and he can carry speed through a corner. He's one of the world's great drifters, and
that's a big lap here. So
yeah,
a second gap around this racetrack. It doesn't take much with 20 corners. It's just half a tenth per corner, basically.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And he and his wife Karen said, if you could just thank the Hard Motorsports crew, and we're more than happy to do it. I've said for years they're the unsung heroes of the sport, and the hours they've been putting in to get that car built up and get it to race at this level have just been immense. And I was just going to say for a minute, it almost looked like Maxson had slowed up coming out. But
there's Block. There's another car in between them, yeah.
So
Seems like that gap is back up there, though. 3.5 seconds, and maybe even increasing even further on this lap. So certainly Tyler got a great run through the TCA traffic. Certainly not the dominance that we've seen him put together, string together this year, but certainly well on the way to that championship title.
And they have adjusted Tyler's fastest lap of the race. 2:22.2.
It's a bit more like it.
Seems a little bit.
We say he's been in a different class this year, but that would be a whole other class.
Completely. Keeping an eye on things here. Obviously, Grohovic with the lead now over Clay and Dubets. That lead, though, still over 11 seconds, Grohovic to Clay, so he is just throttling this field right now. Watching in the TCA category, Boehm's lead is a big one as well. Then Gonzalez. Bacon is close. Pombo is close. Mejia is close. So that second on back in TCA is going to be a great scrap as well. So right now we've got sort of the
squeal through there. You could just hear it. James really leaning on the front end of that BMW. And Castro Dubet's car looks a little bit more balanced right now, late in the going, just 8 minutes to go. So the championship leader again, he's got to think big picture, but there's still 5 rounds to go, including this one in the championship, so he can't just rest on his laurels and just stroke at home. He needs to keep grabbing every point he can right now.
Oh, especially with the way Toby's running here.
Yeah.
I mean, Toby's only 7 points
behind Johan coming in.
So
seems like he's got some understeering. That guy. Just see a lot of steering input through some of these corners. And you can hear the tires kind of screaming mercy a little bit as we see Troby there. There you see the gap. We have not seen that in probably 3 seasons. I think, Greg, in terms of touring car competition, for the lead being that big.
I agree. I agree. Now, Toby certainly has a fair amount of laps around here, but still, that's these guys are all that, so solid. They're fast. And we have the same dynamic developing in all 3 classes. Leader down the road a ways. Second, third, fourth, really, really good close racing. You can see Johan just flogging that thing right now.
And it's great to see how everyone gets more and more miles and laps and events at this circuit, how innovative they get with the curbs here in terms of using them to good effect, trying to shortcut the track a little bit, not abusing the track limits. Red and white is all right, as they say. So right there, Johan was just outside the track limits if you took it right by the letter of the rule there. Needs at least some part of that Pirelli P0 to be on the red and white curbing as he exits the corners.
But to make mention of, not that long ago, I was talking about he was that Clay Castro Dubet's Bloom battle. He had just nipped it down underneath 5 seconds. It was like 4.8. It's 2.7.
Yeah,
he's coming.
He's really closing in. I'm not sure whether time is on his side here as we look at our TCR leader.
Maxson got bottled up somewhere because look how close Block is now.
Yeah, and it's not inconceivable for Tyler Maxson to clinch this championship here today. If he finishes this race 100 points in front over Victor Gonzalez, and the way they run it right now, Taylor Hagler is giving him that buffer. So Gonzalez needs to finish in the 4th position to keep this championship alive, I feel, unofficially. So Taylor having such a strong run here in that 4th position and keeping Victor down in 5th is big championship-wise for Tyler Maxson.
Yeah, that margin was 3.8 a couple laps ago. It was 1.4 last time through start finish.
Roy Block there, really defensive down into the brake zone for turn 11. Probably compromised his exit speed quite a bit as Smithson continues to harry him and put the pressure on.
Victor just seems a little bit off the pace at this stage. All right, Roy doing everything he can to get through here on the 27 of Lou.
Yeah, didn't want to overcommit, just felt through that scenario a little bit. You could see him there, he kind of put the nose down there, didn't commit to the apex, just waited to see how the traffic was going to play out a little bit. So smart driving there, but Smithson's car looks really good right now in the late going. I think his car looks a bit stronger than the Alfa maybe.
And Hagler staying really, there she is, staying really close.
I think that's what's so impressive when you look at the gaps. He's only 3.2 seconds out of the lead. So yes, he runs in 4th, but only 3 and a bit seconds out of leading this race here today.
There's that LA Honda World entry. Honda Civic Type R.
I think that's what you notice with someone who's on the learning curve like Taylor. She put in that great qualifying performance, put it on the front row. Didn't race quite as aggressively in those opening few corners and opening lap as the other guys. We see Block putting the block on. Smithson just tucks it to the inside. I think Roy Block is struggling here a little bit for grip in the late going. I mean, he's going defensive really early into some of these brake zones.
Lloyd Smithson, he's got the nose there, but the next corner's the left, and I think he recognized that Block was coming across.
I think if Taylor's smart here and savvy, she may see the door open and maybe jump from fourth to second here, the way these guys are duking it out.
Well, and I think there will probably be a warning coming to the Roy Block team about the fact that what he did there was definitely in reaction. And they give you a warning or two, but they call that's not just defensive driving, that's blocking, and they really don't look favorably on that.
You're allowed to pick your line, but there he's really compromising his rolling speed through apex. I think if Smithson just times it a little bit better, he's getting stymied right at that critical point when he wants to get back to power. So he can see that Block's making that move early, really compromising his line and entry. So I think Scott Smithson could probably set that up a little bit better, be a little bit closer here.
And of course, all of this defensive driving by Block right now is doing Maxson a big favor, compromising those guys behind them and their speed through the corners, and gives Maxson maybe a little bit more room. 1.4 seconds last time by. Be interesting to see what it is this time by.
Yeah, really impressive the pace that they're running here. They're running lap times this late in the going within a second and a bit of what their fastest laps are. So these Pirelli P0s are really hanging on nicely here to this long green flag run today.
That's a great sequence of corners here. Literally winding around the amphitheater. Now into turn 20, and again Block. He thinks Smithson's going to cut down underneath him and shallows it up a little bit.
And I think you're right, Greg. This has really allowed Tyler just to keep running his pace at the front and not come under any pressure. I think if the other guys would run them by themselves, particularly Smithson, they could have probably caught Tyler here. But one lap to go, he seems to have enough of a gap.
It went from 1.4 to 2.8 on that lap alone. And now Smithson on the outside, Block already over there. So watch, let's see, does Scott cut down and go to throttle early? He's trying it.
It's going to be really tight there, but the Alfa still has that inside line.
Meanwhile, Toby Grahovic has just put on a little bit of a clinic here in that classic BMW entry. You know, we've been talking about it. You take a look here at Kevin Boehm, as he's got that big lead in the TCA category in the AWS Crowd Strike entry from Boehm Racing.
A similar story there, really. Yes. We haven't seen anyone dominate a TCA race like this. Kevin's got a 12-second lead.
Yeah, that's just unheard of. He is such a smart, savvy racer. Here's a look at Toby. I was going to say the classic BMW. At first blush, you might think, is that a BMW restoration shop? As he picks up the white flag by the name, but the classic really refers more to the classic BMW approach to just general excellence. It's one of the biggest BMW dealerships in North America, and had the chance to go and see it. And I'll tell you, they put the class in classic. It is just a remarkable facility.
Big switch up here.
Yeah.
Block, late move, got dropped down to fourth position. Late move down to the inside of Taylor, and takes away that third position. Smithson through to second, as you can see. Can Taylor regroup here? That was a bold move down to the inside. Fortunately, Taylor saw him coming and made room.
Yeah, that was a nice piece of race of vision, if you will, by Taylor Hagler, because it could have ended in tears. Ooh, she's a little wide there.
End up just gave up on her a little bit, so going to struggle to get back to the podium position she was in potentially.
Meanwhile, here comes Tyler, and after an off weekend at Road America, the most recent round, he is right back into it. This is heading toward, by my count, win number 10 on the season, and he does it. Copeland, Hyundai, and Maxson win at Circuit of the Americas. Win number 10 for Tyler. Scott Smithson, another podium. Roy Block, a great run as well. His 4th podium of the season. Taylor Hagler, welcome back, and almost got the podium as well. So nice to have her back. Here is Kevin Boehm. And yeah, we were talking about the lead that he's put up here. It is just a huge margin over Gonzalez and Bacon.
Going for 4 in a row, and with it the championship lead with 4 rounds left.
What a story. First season running an SRO competition, and dealt with some issues a little bit earlier in the year, and then things have just been clicking. And he and Sharon, it's pretty much their team. He does most of the work on the cars. He's an engineering and test driver.
It's got to be refreshing to get through some of those early season technical issues and just focus on the driving now.
Yes. Here he comes, Honda. Boehm Racing win with AWS CrowdStrike support on that car. What a story for them. And then, of course, Toby Grahovic well out there. But look at this. Clay, Castro DeBetz, and Phil Bloom never went away, did he? And here comes Toby for Classic BMW. The dealership and the race team, Fast Track, which is in-house just down the road in Plano, Texas. All right, a couple hours down the road, but down the road. Look at this. It's a drag race to the line. DeBetz, who do they give it to? Just gets it over Bloom, 52 1/1000ths of a second. And right at the line, Austin Smith snuck by Johann Schwartz and pulled off the final top 5 spot. Wow. That was a fun comeback drive by Austin.
I think unofficially we may be giving this man another championship. Unofficially has enough of a gap now with 4 rounds remaining to have sealed the deal here.
Well, and he earned the CrowdStrike fastest lap award on the way, that 2-minute 22.205 for Tyler Maxson. Wow, what a season he's had.
Yeah, 10 wins, and other than Road America where they struggled for pace and had some technical issues, it's just been dominant. I mean, today wasn't easy. He had to stay really up on the wheel and just hit his marks and got through traffic really effectively. I think that's what won him the race. I think Smithson probably had the pace overall to maybe win this one, but with a great start and creating that little buffer at the beginning was enough.
Copeland saw something in Tyler. Tyler saw something in Copeland, and boy, what a partnership it has been. Let's take a look at the provisional results here. Again, TCR category, Maxson, Smith, and Block on the podium. Taylor, Hagler, and Gonzalez rounding out the top 5, and touring car Grahovic with that big margin to the win. James Clay doing enough, sitting second in the finishing order here, coming in as the points leader. And Castro DeBetz, he's going to be a player here for the rest of the weekend for sure. And Phil Bloom, and as I said, Austin Smith just getting around Johann Schwartz for the final spot in the top 5. And then Hull and Ricca. And a nice run. Nice to have Jeff Ricca back in things. And then you look at the TCA category again, Kevin Boehm, big margin over Tyler Gonzalez, but not a bad run for Tyler, having started from pit lane after no qualifying time and up into the 2nd spot. Then Caleb Bacon, another strong performance.
First podium of the year.
Yeah, it's so nice to see. They've been fast. They just haven't had the results and have been able to put that together. So a good run for him. Then Mejia, right at the end, Mejia got back around Pombo. So those two were having a pretty good little scrap. And there is Tyler. They're just tapping on that car. Nice move by Scott Smithson. Let's take a look here at some of the highlights. And on the start, James Clay back in the field as the touring cars really ran up in the back of the TCR machines, Cal.
They really did. Big compression there between the two classes. I'm sure that will be talked about overnight with the stewards to not have the same effect tomorrow. Got things mixed up a little bit there.
Sure did. In the TCA category, Kevin Boehm going for it right off the go, but you can see Caleb Bacon making a big move from back just a little bit, as did Gonzalez. And then this moment, a little bit of a touch, and Pombo getting snapped around, but gathered it back up, was able to come back and get near the front. And then, let me ask you, just a little bit of a tap there in the midst of some multi-class traffic. And then this moment when James Clay shot through on Bloom.
Yeah, just put the pressure on, little mistake there, and James took advantage.
But in the end, overall, and in TCR, Maxson coming through, getting that 10th win, and Very possibly, if our math is right. He's unbeaten there, 5-10. And he probably put up a 1 after that, meaning champion. And look at that, so close at the line. And John Castro DeBette's just hanging on for that final spot on the podium. And there is a look at that winning Hyundai Veloster. And let's get down to pit lane and Ryan.
Tyler Maxson, we believe, we've done the math, we think you have clinched a TCR championship. You won the TCA championship a year ago also with this Copeland team. What is it about this combination, you and Copeland, that has been so successful over the last 2 seasons?
Well, man, it really just comes down to how good of high quality this team is. These guys put in more work than anybody that I know on this car before we come to these events. So it really just comes down to the preparation that they put into these cars. And obviously, they're top notch. We've secured the TCR championship, we think, hopefully, with about 4 races to go. So that's really something special.
You had 9 straight wins to start the season. Then it hit a little bit of a snag the last couple of races at Road America. How good does it feel to put that behind you and now pick up another win?
Yeah, it feels great. You know, we knew Road America was going to be a struggle. We're definitely not a top speed car, and that track's all about top speed. So we knew that one's going to be a struggle, and unfortunately we weren't able to continue our winning streak there, but we picked up win number 10, and this Cota Motorsports Hyundai Veloster, and it's just been absolutely incredible this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
He hasn't been so bad either. He has been really impressive. By the way, just got an update. They said Johan on the last lap had a fuel stumble. After everything else.
Wow.
And that could be some of the computer and electronics on the car just not reading things right. But wow, what a tough go for him. Here's a look at the TCR category. Again, Maxson, Smithson, and Block the podium. Hagler and Gonzalez, then Askew and Moses. And you got to think that had those two, one, Olivier got knocked around into a spin and CJ got caught up in the TC traffic. And when they get trapped in that, with the twisty bits on this track being so difficult, it might be a little bit closer to things here in the next couple of races as we have a good look at that absolutely beautiful machine of Kevin Boehm, the Honda Civic SI. And by our reckoning, this is a 4th straight win, isn't it?
It is, and with the championship lead, so 4 rounds to go. Still a long way left in this championship, but he has got things sorted out. He's executing, and with it comes the big points.
And he's with Ryan Marine.
I got Toby Grahovic here right now. A 2nd straight win for you, and something close to dominance in a class where we don't see that very often. How were you able to pull such a big gap in such an even class?
On the first lap, I had the great escape and got around them, and they were battling behind me. It's amazing to win on classic BMW's home soil. Got to thank Eric Moss, Klex BMW, Alex, Nick, Chase, Andrew, Yuki, all the guys back at the shop, everyone back at Classic Fast Track Racing for making this happen. Say hi to the family at home. They wish they could be here, but with COVID they can't, so next year.
With a car that was clearly this strong, do you put it straight back in the garage, or do you have some tweaks to make it even better for tomorrow?
We'll make a few adjustments for tomorrow, so that make sure we're back on the top step again. I think we're starting 2nd, so it's just probably a better spot to start, the outside of turn 1. So, but the classic BMW car, I'm sure will be awesome again tomorrow.
We look forward to seeing you then.
Thank
Thanks.
you.
Wow, what a dominant run he put on. And as we take a look at the results, you've talked on and off this year a little bit about him ramping up his aggression. He played collegiate hockey at a university at a very high level, and they retired his jersey. I think this year he's dug into the. I looked at him at Fast Track and I said, "So are you getting into the forechecking aggressive mode?" And he said, "You bet. That's what we're all about now." And boy, did it pay off. It
really did. Beautiful performance, dominant. And as I said during the show, I don't remember a TC race where someone's driven away from the field quite like he did today.
And let's get right back down to Ryan.
We've got Kevin Boehm here, the winner in TCA. Kevin, you're on a bit of a hot streak here as of late, and right back in the championship fight as well. Do you allow yourself to think about that at all?
You know, I'm really trying to take it one race at a time. We've been doing that all year. We're new to this series. The car's new to us, and we've learned so much since we were here last in March, and I think the result today really shows that. We got a 2nd place when we were here in March. We were able to up that one more time here, and to really put that through on a 4 race in a row streak is it's pretty memorable from my standpoint. So I think it's just everything coming together at once, and man, it doesn't get better than this.
A couple of podiums for Kevin Boehm back in March. He does even better with the top step of the podium today.
Absolutely, and as you alluded to, Cal, we believe into the lead of the points in the class, so it has been a remarkable streak. I mean, a couple of great drives for Gonzalez and Bacon behind him to come up from where they qualified, and Mejia Pombo having that inter-squad rivalry as well. And for Damon Shershizian and Ben Bettenhausen, I mean, were not for problems, they might have been right up in this
Yeah,
mix
they
as
had
well.
really fast cars and were putting in great performances. So they'll be disappointed, but hopefully they can bounce back tomorrow.
Well, and that's the nice thing. Tomorrow is the key, and we get a couple more of these on this very busy weekend here in Circuit of the Americas. Visit number 2 on the 2020 championship season. For TC America, I'm Greg Creamer, along with Calvin Fish and Ryan Marine. We'll see you next time.